Hello and welcome to Oddspedia FIFA Club World Cup Matchday 2. We are going to analyze the best games with Leo Bachanian. Leo, I guess from the Matchday 1, we have to take two things. First of all, South American teams are very competitive. And second one, I think the European ones are still in precision. They are really out of form.
Yes, Edu, to be honest, I'm very happy with the display of all the South American teams, Brazilian, Argentinians, even the Monterrey with Inter was very good and getting a point at least. To be honest, I'm a bit surprised as well for the level shown by South American teams, very competitive as you said, but as is always happening with European teams as well, they're going to be improving. They're going to be improving along the tournament. So we still need to wait, but so far...
Yes, I think so as well, that they are going to improve along the tournament. Well, guys, remember to leave your comments here. And, of course, press the like, subscribe. Let's go on now with the show. Well, as I said, we've chosen the best games, in our opinion, in match day 2. So we are not going to analyze all the games from Group A. We are going to stop in the Inter Miami Porto 1. This is a funny group because all the teams have 1 point, and Porto were lucky, we can say, about the point they got against Palmeiras, because probably they were worse than the Brazilian team, and the best player in the pitch was the goalkeeper, Pereira. So now they have to improve against Inter Miami. Most of the people, Leo, said that the first game of the tournament against Al-Ahly was very boring. The rhythm was very low. They were playing almost walking against the Al-Ahly. And we saw Messi and Luis Suarez up front. We saw also Busquets. The bookies, despite the bad performance of Porto, they placed the Portuguese team as favorites for this game.
Yes, they are favorites, Edu, but to be honest, I wasn't bored with Al-Ahly and Inter Miami. I had a good first match or at least I enjoyed it partly, especially the second half probably. The game for Inter in the debut, Edu, they have an MVP, which I was not expecting, 𝗀𝗲𝗀𝗀. He kept Inter in the game in the first half, saving a penalty and 2 or 3 clear-cut chances for Al-Ahly. I don't know how many games he had with that type of performance, to be honest, in the last 10 years or so. In that first period, Edu, we saw many of the things, in a way, we discussed in the last show, how poorly, almost in an amateurish way, Inter defense at times. There was a lack of communication, a lack of awareness, a lack of fundamentals. Inter Miami was lost to defend transitions after losing the ball in attack. Center backs not checking each other lines. No midfielders making covers for full backs. And then they have to pray to see if Messi would do something in attack. In the first half, not much really. But the second half, in fairness, was a little bit different story for Miami, Edu. They did not suffer as in the first half. 𝗀𝗲𝗀𝗀 was not called almost to intervene. And the one who started running the show was 𝐬𝐭𝐴𝐵, the goalkeeper from Al-Ahly. Falcón almost scored with a header. Weingart, the former Boca Juniors fullback, as well, had a good chance. 𝐬𝐭𝐴𝐵 denied Messi in the 95th minute of the game or so. So, all in all, the second half could provide some hopes for Inter Miami, Edu, but the gap with Porto is big. Even against a Porto that I agree with you, they could count themselves lucky not to have lost in their debut with Palmeiras. It was a miracle that the first half finished 0-0. It's true they had a good chance with Rodrigo Mora, but in the last kick of that first half, I remember in the same play, 3 chances for Palmeiras. First Ramos, the goalkeeper, then defender saving on the line. We have seen with South American teams against probably, second-tier European teams like Porto or Benfica, but they don't like the friction, Edu. If Miami manages to take the game to that territory, it's going to be good, but I don't think so they can do it. Rodrigo Mora for Porto is the next big thing, absolutely, in Portuguese football. For me, a mixture of Bernardo Silva, Vitinha, and probably the technical quality of João Felix. He could be definitely the MVP of this match against Inter, even with Messi on the pitch. The odds on Porto are not bad, Edu, and I will take them. For me, it's 𝐿𝐵 here in this Inter Porto to win 1.68.
Okay, you don't trust Inter Miami, probably the worst of the CONCACAF teams that we've seen, or the North American, together with LAFC and Seattle Sounders. They lost, but they had better chances probably than Inter Miami, although, of course, Messi's team got a point in their debut. Well, we are going to jump into Group C, Leo, to analyze probably the best game, in my opinion, in match day 2 is Flamengo. Chelsea, both won their games. Both are level in the top spot of the standings. 2-0, both won. So this is very important to know which team is going to qualify as first, since we don't give many chances to Los Angeles or to Sporting Tunis. And probably Flamengo was even better in their debut than Chelsea. I heard also a lot of criticism around Maresca's team, Leo, because they conceded many chances, even if they took the lead in the first half with Pedro Neto scoring a goal, but they conceded plenty of chances. As I said, probably the best news was Ďelap's debut, whereas for Flamengo was an easy win for Felipe Luis' team. Leo, we see Chelsea as favorite here, but perhaps it's a good opportunity for a surprise in this game, as we saw in the match day 1, how the Brazilian teams are competitive in this tournament.
Look, Edu, Flamengo could take courage from LAFC, because they managed, as you said, to create chances in transition against Chelsea. Anyway, probably maybe was the feeling of how Chelsea treated as well the game in Atlanta was one of pre-season in terms of the rhythm, at least. The lack of supporters playing in an almost empty stadium did not help. But Flamengo, I enjoyed their debut against the Tunisian side, Edu, and this should be a very interesting game. I'm really looking forward for this Flamengo-Chelsea. There will be familiar names for Chelsea, as Flamengo's new number 5 or number 21, if you like to mention the jersey number rather than the position, is Jorginho, who won the Champions League with the Blues in 2021 and the Club World Cup in that same year against Palmeiras in the final. In the bench, there is another familiar face for Chelsea with as 𝐜𝐵𝐺𝐻's manager, as you said, is Felipe Luis, who played for Chelsea in 2014-2015. For Jorginho was his first game as a Flamengo player, and he did quite well, dictating the tempo as he usually does, knowing when to accelerate, when to pause the game. He assisted Araujo for the second goal and put the game to bed. One of the beneficiaries of having the ex-Arsenal player in the team, I think, is Georgian de Arrascaeta, the number 10, the Uruguayan, who scored, and he received the ball from Jorginho more than from anyone else during the game. De Arrascaeta is in good form, 13 goals this season, with the one against the Tunisian side included. Before arriving to the US, he scored in 3 of the last 5 games in Flamengo in the Serie A. Of course, the challenge now with Chelsea is completely different for Flamengo. But in the second half on Monday, I think Flamengo play a little bit more counter-attack, and that is something that we're going to see against this Chelsea. Maresca went almost full board, Edu, because apart from Enzo Fernandez, who was in the bench, he came in the second half. He actually scored the second goal. Then you will probably say that's the best 11 so far, or the best 11 that Maresca used throughout the 2024-2025 season. We had the chance to see Liam Delap debut, the ex-Manchester City, Ipswich Town player. He did well, actually. He provided Enzo Fernandez with the assist. He looked lively. I think he's going to score more than Nico Jackson, or at least he's going to miss less goals than Nico Jackson, and that is a lot. Pedro Neto was the more incisive player. Palmer was a little bit below par. Caicedo and Lavia in midfield played it all right. But all in all, I agree that it wasn't a great performance from Chelsea. And defensively, of course, it wasn't good as well. LAFC created problems, and again, that is something that Flamengo could take courage going into this game. Their favorite is Chelsea, yes, of course. The 𝐿𝐴 odds are good, but my route in this one, anyway, Edu, is both teams to score, yes. Again, Chelsea provided LAFC with many chances, and Flamengo is not LAFC. So both teams to score, yes, 1.91, that's my take.
Let's see if we see, for instance, Palmer raising the level, although the second part of the season wasn't good for him, apart from the conference final. He should show up in this FIFA World Cup. And also in this group, we are going to stop in the LAFC Sporting Tunis, Leo, because we have good odds, actually, in this game, especially if you are backing the North American team. Is 1.9 for them to win. As you commented, we were kind of impressed by their performance against Chelsea, creating many chances. So if they win here, and you will tell me if you back them, they might have a chance in the last game in this group against Flamengo to qualify, and although it would be a great surprise, of course.
Yes, they are the favorites also for me. Edu, I agree in that one with in that respect with the bookies. It's gonna be another game with not so many fans in the stadium, I believe. From LA to Nashville, where the game is gonna be played, is 4 hours flight, Edu. And the reason why they don't play in LA is, as for example, Seattle Sounders, who is playing at home, is because LA was not meant to play the tournament, but after FIFA removed Club León from Mexico, and that was after the draw of this FIFA World Cup, they played the playoff with Club America. I again personally like the LA against Chelsea. Some were surprised to see Olivier Giroud not starting the game. The idea that they should have this kind of experienced players for this stage. But the reality is that the French has been a bit of a disappointment since he arrived in May 2024. Just 5 goals for him in LA. He touched the ball 8 times only against Chelsea coming on the second half. He didn't have a single shot on goal, and also he even looked a little bit out of pace with the Blues defense. Despite this, there were moments when LA scared Chelsea in transition, especially with Dennis Bouanga, always coming from the left. He's the most threatening player they have in the team, LA. 8 goals in 15 games in the MLS so far for him. They will have the chance of running counters again now with Esperance, because the Tunisians are technical. Yes, they like to attack, but they could be a little bit naive at the back, as we have seen with Flamengo. The odds are leaning on LA. I like them, and I take X1 routing here, Edu. LAFC to win 1.91.
And also on Friday, we have a really interesting game in Group C. We have Bayern Munich, Boca Juniors. Probably the best game so far in this tournament was Boca Juniors, Benfica 2-2. Although, I guess, Leo, you were not happy by the result because, of course, Boca was leading 2-0. They had the win in their hands. Therefore, the qualification for the next round, but then strange things happened and the team started to defend really deep, and at the end Benfica got the equalizer without doing a lot of things, I might say. But I was surprised by Boca Juniors' strength and the pace they played. Really strong football, Leo, as we are used to in the CONMEBOL. Now let's see if they can fight against Bayern Munich. Of course, they beat Oakland 10-0, the scandal of this tournament. But perhaps they can punish them. We saw in the defense of Bayern, for instance, Stanisic and 𝐻𝐴. I think the defense line of Bayern can be better than this. And for Boca, it's also very important if they lose. Don't get crazy. If you lose by 1 goal, margin is still all right, I would say, with the last game playing against Oakland City.
Yes, I agree, Edu, with that. And to be honest, what I expect from Boca is to be competitive as they were with Benfica. Yes, it was a disappointment, of course, especially after you are going from 2-0 to 2-2. Just in case if anyone was wondering why Argentinian supporters or Boca Juniors supporters were whistling Otamendi all game. Every time he touched the ball, he was whistled. That is because Otamendi is a River Plate fan, River Plate supporter. He said it many times. That's why Boca Juniors didn't like him. And, well, he actually scored the 2-2. It's a huge game in Miami again for Boca, this one. Difficult to make any conclusion from Bayern scoring 10 against Oakland City. Just the surprise that Harry Kane probably that he didn't score. Another surprise for me was how good it was the 17-year-old debutant Leonard Card. He was in the match squad in the last few games in the Bundesliga, but he made his debut now in the US. They are calling him the new Ruben. Well, we're gonna have to see and wait. But again, I was absolutely surprised how Miguel Russo managed, to be honest, to make a turnaround with these players with Boca, Edu. I will repeat this again, something that I said in last show. I watched in La Bombonera the last two games of Boca in Argentina, and I was terrified of thinking about this game with Bayern Munich. But now everything changed after Benfica. The confidence, the mood for Boca supporters is completely different. Boca showed in Miami that even when the technical quality could be differ between European sides and South American sides, there is a competitive edge that you cannot buy, that is not easy to find. A competitive edge, which is one of the main reasons, I believe, why European teams many times they look for South American players, because they can bring something different. From every Benfica player, there were 2 or sometimes 3 Boca Juniors players in Miami. The intensity, the game management in terms of talking to the referee, falling to the floor sometimes, was something that probably Benfica is not used to in their league. They're not even used to when they play Champions League football. Boca loves friction, and you could tell that Benfica was not used to that. All the time, like talking to the referee or asking why Boca was pushing every single time, why there was friction in every single ball. Well, Boca needs to bring more of the same against Bayern Munich, and then yes, if you have a chance at the counter, take it. And also something that what you said is very important. Don't get crazy if Bayern Munich score, especially if they score early. The game is long, and we're gonna see. But Boca needs at least a point to dream of qualification. That is the truth. We need to see how they recover physically, because the effort was huge. 2 red cards for Boca. Figal at the end of the game when he went, to be honest, a bit crazy. Ander Herrera in a bizarre situation because he got injured after 20-25 minutes. And then he was shown a red card from the bench when he was complaining about the penalty that they gave to Benfica for Angel Di Maria's goal. But it was a foul from Palacios to Otamendi. Nothing to say about that. Will Boca need a miracle? Well, something like that maybe. The support will be there. The dream is a win, of course, or at least a draw. But I will be happy, as I said, to see Boca competing the way they have done against Benfica. My take, Edu, first half Boca Asian handicap +1. First half Boca Asian handicap +1, odds of 1.78. Not bad.
Even from set pieces, they were very dangerous, with Batalla scoring a goal, but also having another chance very similar to the goal. So let's see if they can compete. Let's see also if we see Cavani on the pitch. Unlikely, I guess, Leo?
Unlikely, Edu, yeah.
Well, a very interesting game. This one on Friday, Bayern Munich, Boca Juniors. Next stop is Inter Milan, Urawa, and Urawa Red Diamonds. And this group is also very interesting. Let's see if Inter qualifies after the draw against Monterrey. Of course, we count them to beat Urawa Red Diamonds, and the last game is gonna be a great one against River Plate. Inter, Leo, with Kibu's debut on the bench, we were all waiting to see some changes with the Nerazzurri after losing in a disastrous way the Champions League final, after losing the Scudetto to Napoli, and well, they were not great against Monterrey. Lautaro complained about the pitch, but the reality is that this Inter gives me a lot of question marks. Leo, not sure if we should back them heavily against Urawa Red Diamonds, a team that was dangerous against River Plate. They lost 3-1, but they show us that they can create a lot of chances.
Yeah, they did create. I wouldn't say a lot. I mean, they did create some chances against River, but because defensively, and then I'm gonna go a little bit about that when it's the turn for River with Monterrey. That defensively, River Plate is not one of the best ones, to be honest. And apart from dynamism that every Japanese team they have, solidarity, they can run all game. Then there's not much on offer, I would say, from Urawa Red Diamonds. So that's why, I mean, fair enough, Inter should win this game. They are favorites, and they're my favorite as well to take the 3 points in here. We were right, this said, about giving the Asian Handicap Plus to Monterrey on the previous show. They did provide the fight to Inter side in 𝐬𝐭𝐴's debut. At least on paper, Edu, the team resembled in size Inter, 3-5-2. That was what we have seen yesterday. We have seen continuity basically with 𝐬𝐭𝐴, who was clear before the game, that saying that he told his players that he respected the way they have achieved things in the last 5 years, and he was not going to touch too much. 7 of the players who started the Champions League final against Paris Saint-Germain were in the starting 11 at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. Yes, Lautaro criticizing the pitch, and it's something which is only 1 year before the World Cup. And be careful with the pitches, because it happened the same during the Copa America last year. Things did not improve much now for the Club World Cup in terms of the pitches. In Seattle, very, very dry conditions on the pitch. In Pasadena, the pitch was not good. In Atlanta, the same. So something to look after, I believe, from FIFA looking into the next year World Cup. There were some new faces anyway in this Inter. Luis Enrique, Edu, who arrived from Olympique Marseille. I think he's an upgrade on Correa, who's now in Botafogo and in this Club World Cup anyway. But he's an upgrade, Luis Enrique, on Correa, on Taremi, on Arnautovic as a backup for Martinez and Thuram. Inter could have won the game, yes, in the last 20 minutes. They created enough. There was a disallowed goal to Lautaro. Also, Martinez missed clear chance with the shot from the small box. The challenge for this group of players is to slowly at least start forgetting what happened in Munich, and a win with Urawa would start that process. My take in this one, Edu, Inter Urawa Red Diamonds, Inter to win at halftime, Inter to win at full time, odds of 1.67.
Let's see if we see a reaction, and then we have River Plate Monterrey. Really good game, this one, with River as a favorite, 2.2. But be careful, Leo, with Monterrey. Really competitive. We saw the best Sergio Ramos at his 39, not only because of the goal.
Crazy.
It was a great goal, actually, but the whole performance was great by Sergio Ramos. We also saw Ocampos, Canales, Oliver Torres. It was a really good team. The one from Domenech Torrent. And River Plate, as we said before, Leo, they beat Urawa, but you said you are concerned about the defensive phase of River Plate.
Yes, I do, because that's been the case for the last 6 months, 8 months with River, even more probably. A very high line at times defensively, which everyone in Argentina have created problems against River. And now Urawa showed that, again, he had not many chances, but a long ball at the back of the fullbacks can create a lot of problems. Even just a direct ball at the back of the center backs could create problems for this River Plate. Against Urawa, 3 headers were enough to win the game. The performance was not the best, but they won fairly anyway. And in this type of tournament, at the same time, we could argue that the win is more important than the performance, or at least it's easier to work on the performance if at the same time you are getting 3 points. The focus was on Mastantuono, who's going to join Real Madrid from August. Although he started the move for the first goal, he had a quiet game, I would say, for his standards. Partly because River, surprisingly, at least for me, preferred to attack on the left with Marcos Acuña more than on the right with Gonzalo Montiel. In the Argentinian league, used to be usually the other way around. River uses more the right than the left. But then Acuña provided 2 amazing crosses. The cross for Colidios' opener was outstanding, and then he provided as well the assist from a corner for Mesa to score the third one. Enzo Perez, who is 39, and Nacho Fernandez, whose best days are also behind him. In midfield, River is look a little bit leggy, I would say as well. It's not just the defensive problems, Edu, but the little lack of intensity there in midfield with Enzo Perez and Nacho Fernandez, a little bit slow to circulate the ball. Probably did not help, as I said before, that the pitch was very, very dry in Seattle. But they're not going to be able to afford those kind of defensive mistakes against Monterrey. The Mexicans will be a completely different challenge for River. They could have taken the 3 points in the last ball of the game against Inter, but the OSA missed an incredible chance. Sergio Ramos started the game in the end because we had a doubt in the first show because he wasn't playing for almost 2 months. But he recovered from injury. He started the game. He scored. And he did what Sergio Ramos does. He's going to be 55 and he's going to still scoring from corners, from set pieces. He's just absolutely amazing in that regard. I was surprised to see how Torrent instructed his players, his team, to go for a 1-1 against Inter. Yeah, they suffer in the second half, but they created chances as well. Canales and Oliver Torres had a very good game in midfield. The match with Inter was very open, as I'm saying. But I imagine this one with River is going to be different. More cagey. We're going to see a lot of, more friction, more fouls. So anyone trying to go for cards market is a good idea as well. When a Mexican team playing an Argentinian team, there are a lot of scuffles. So I will recommend as well to have a look on the cards market for this one. A very interesting game. One of the best one I would say on Matchday 2. The odds leaning on toward River, but my take here, Edu, the odds are good on a double chance for Monterrey, and I'm going that route. Monterrey double chance, 1.75.
Well, a surprise. It was a good idea to go for cards, for instance, in the Boca Juniors Benfica, you said before, perhaps also in this one. And for Sunday, to be honest, there are not great games because we have 4 big favorites on Sunday. But we've chosen Real Madrid, Pachuca. We have to be honest, Leo, we still have to see what they do in match day 1 because it's very hectic, this tournament, and we have to record this video ahead of the games. But I'm looking forward to seeing Xabi Alonso's team in this World Cup, his debut in Real Madrid, and what can be changed from the Real Madrid we saw from Ancelotti. We have odds only 1.25. Leo, perhaps is a good option actually to back somehow. Pachuca, Real Madrid are not used to thrash teams, at least last season was the case, and we've seen how competitive Mexican or 𝐬𝐵 teams have been during this FIFA Club World Cup. And we have Pachuca to win 14. Of course, this is very unlikely to happen. But a close result could be a good option here.
But look, Edu, Pachuca is not Monterrey, I would say. And they face each other in the Copa Intercontinental like 6-7 months ago. Real Madrid and Pachuca. And Real Madrid did not need to do much to win comfortably 3-0. I'm very curious as well about Xabi Alonso's debut with Al-Ahly. No, with Al-Ain, I'm sorry. In this Club World Cup with Pachuca is going to be Matchday 2, and we still need to see them. But I'm curious because this is, I think, it's a proper change of direction for Real Madrid in years, Edu, because with Zidane and with Carleto Ancelotti, the focus was always on man management. And now with Xabi Alonso, for the first time in many, many years, is tactics that are the front of Real Madrid analysis. I'm curious, is he going to play with 3 at the back? Does he have the players to play the way he was doing it in Bayern, in Leverkusen? If he plays with wingbacks, what's going to happen with the wingers? Because in Leverkusen, the ones giving width to the team were the wingbacks. But in Real Madrid, you have wingers, Rodrigo, Vini, 𝐬𝐵PPE can play as well as a winger. Well, what's going to happen with that position? What's going to happen with Rodrigo? what's going to be the position for Bellingham starting deeper, like, I don't know, Ezequiel Palacios or Granit Xhaka, or playing in a more advanced role behind the number 9. What's going to happen with Trent and Dani Carvajal? Is Trent going to be used more in midfield than as a defender or as a wingback? What is going to be his position? Again, many questions, and we're going to start having the answers in these first 2 games for Real Madrid. But when it comes to Pachuca, I don't see them giving Real Madrid too many troubles. It will depend, Edu, at the end of the day, how much wants Real Madrid to go for this game. If they score early, if they're going to settle for that. Again, for the European teams, at least at the group stage, I see they're going to end up putting a little bit in stronger performances once the tournaments go on. But still, for me, I don't see a reason why we wouldn't have similar scenario as in the Intercontinental Cup 6 or 7 months ago. That's why my take here is Real Madrid Asian handicap -2, odds of 2.02, Edu.
All right, Leo. Well, I want to let you know and encourage our users that we have our tipster competitions going on, and we have a specific one for the FIFA Club World Cup. So it's completely free to participate. You just need to register in Oddspedia, post your tips, and you have the chance to win some cash prizes. So it's a very good idea. And of course, we have rivals where you can create your own tipster competition. Well, Leo, we've seen already some games in this FIFA Club World Cup. Enjoying it, I might say. And now let's finish the video with your safe bet.
My safe bet, Edu, Real Madrid to win plus goals over 1.5 in their game against Pachuca. These two together, odds of 1.39 for my safe bet.
And your ACCA?
I'm using the safe bet combined with Porto to win and Flamengo, Chelsea, both teams to score yes. These 3 together, odds of 4.40.
All right, well, guys, let's enjoy the tournament. Thanks, Leo. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Bye-bye.